Free stuff. Everybody loves free stuff. Hello and welcome to another English podcast with Paul. I'm your host, Paul. And as always, natural, native British English, unedited and unscripted. Though I do have some notes and I'll be putting on my glasses. I also have the laptop set up. So if you see me looking over this way or looking down, then I'm just looking at some of my notes. All right, okay. So, as I just mentioned, free stuff. This week seems to be all about the UK. And we're talking about free stuff the UK has to offer. Well, the reason I say this is because a lot of people in the UK complain, as we all do, often about people moving to the UK and gaining immigrant status, saying that they are coming here only for our free stuff, our NHS. But that's not the case. I believe that anybody that comes to the UK generally wants to work and wants a better quality of life. I've seen some of these people. I've understand some of the hardships and some of the frustration that these people are human beings that want a better life for themselves and their family. And I don't have a problem with that. If you want to come to this country and work hard and participate, then that's brilliant. I don't have a problem with that at all. So, free stuff. This is what people think that they're coming for. Free stuff. What does the UK have then? What is this creamy cake that everybody's talking about? Well, I think the first one is, and the main one, is the NHS, National Health Service. Now, everybody that works normally has a small contribution of their wages taken out, just a very small percentage, to help with paying for the NHS. Now, this NHS is, well, as I said before, it's one of the biggest employers in Europe. I think it's the biggest employer in Europe. And the NHS is kind of institutionalized and unfortunately it seems to be getting undermined by the government, and the government seem to want to privatize everything, make everything look bad. Oh, it's terrible. Let's privatize it, make it better, and then sell it off. That's what they've done with lots of other industries that we built in the UK. You know, like well, all of it really, all of it. It's been privatized and sold off, and now we get a bum deal and a bum service. And if it falls apart completely, the government have to pick it up and start all over again. So the government in our country, like most, is just full of people that are businessmen that want to make as much money and steal as much money out of the country and its resources and its people as possible. So I'll not get on my soapbox too much to talk about the government, but the NHS is something the British people are proud of. The staff that work in the NHS are very, very empathic and work really hard and try really hard. And I myself have used some of these services throughout my life through accidents and illnesses and things like this. And everybody from the porter, the cleaners, all the way up to the surgeons and everything else have been amazingly positive. Good bedside manner, good attitude, connect with you as a human being, even if they're a high-ranking surgeon. Again, they talk to you as a human being. And that's something I think the British are proud of, is our level of bedside manner and how that's evolved over the decades. So the NHS, they have so much that's free. So for example, if you're in a road traffic accident, the first point of call for a member of the NHS would be a paramedic. And often these paramedics are almost as trained as much as a doctor, in that they're like really highly qualified nurses. I don't know if they're a separate industry. I know you can get a degree as a paramedic, and I've an interview with Kate, also on my blog, if you want to look at that. Interview with an Oxford paramedic. So I think they're a separate qualification altogether, a degree as a paramedic. So they're extremely highly qualified for dealing with trauma, like road traffic accidents and things like that. Very highly qualified. Now, in other countries, I imagine that the service where somebody scoops you up and takes you to the hospital is not as efficient or as amazing as being dealt with and maintaining and progressing your life and keeping you alive whilst you're on the road there or in that accident scene. You know, that's vital minutes from scooping you up to taking you to the hospital. It could be 20 minutes, it could be an hour, depending on how far away you are in the country or in the wilderness. But the UK ambulance service paramedics are amazing, absolutely amazing. They can give you painkillers, they can save your life. They really do save your life if you've been in a road traffic accident. So the paramedics are second to none, and I'm very, very proud of the paramedics we have. Then the vehicle itself, you know, the actual ambulance is really top notch. It's really good, well maintained vehicles, clean. They've got all the equipment on there to help with your heart and breathing and all the apparatus you could possibly think of. They've got it on board. And then again, that machine gets you, that van, that vehicle gets you to the hospital pretty rapidly. They're able to, you know, get through the traffic quite quick. And most people in the UK, although they're not legally, technically allowed, a lot of the people driving the cars will move to the side, go through red lights, and they will do what they can to allow this ambulance through. And it's the same with fire engines and ambulances, because you think that could be your family member in the back of that ambulance, or your house could be on fire and that's the fire brigade going to you, and the same with the police. So we are very, very lucky. The police, the fire service, the ambulance service, I'll get onto that in a moment. So once the ambulance then gets to A&E, accident in emergency, as we call it in the UK, accident in emergency, you will be assessed and you'll get taken to either surgery or wherever they're going to treat you in a priority order. You may get taken in and you may be giving birth, in which case your priority is now. If you get taken in and it turns out you've got, I don't know, chronic constipation and you're in agony, then although you're in agony, they can give you painkillers. You may have to wait a little while to see a doctor and get treated. So it's priority of life, not priority of money, not priority of ethnicity, or creed or religion. None of that matters. You can be any religion from any country. It's done on the priority of saving your life. All right, and who else is in the hospital? So that's a really good thing, that they are really strict at being unjudgmental of who you are or what. Even if you've done this to yourself, you know, some people insert objects into places they shouldn't be going. Sometimes there's a child with something up their nose. Any of these things, they are not judged. All right, our staff in the NHS are very professional and polite. Now, on the other hand, we also believe it is not fair for our NHS staff to receive abuse and to receive verbal violence or physical threat. Although this occasionally happens because of the nature of being ill or in agony and pain. So occasionally that happens, and often the member of staff is very understanding and reasonable, and the care is given as best as possible. So you get taken into the ambulance, you get taken into the hospital, you get treated in due course, and then you are either taken up to a ward, and a ward is like a big room full of beds, and there may be 3 beds, there may be 20 beds. It just depends on the type of ward and where it is. So you would get taken up to a ward and you'd be given ongoing care. So your paperwork may suggest that you need observations every 15 minutes or once an hour. Whatever the doctor is prescribed for you in regards to your observations and the severity of your illness or accident. So you get looked after and you will be in that bed or in that hospital unless they transfer you to another one that has better or more appropriate care for you. You'll be in that bed generally until you're better or until they move you to another ward where you're progressively getting better and better. So you're looked after all the time. You're also kept clean, dry and warm. They'll help you with bathing, toilet facilities, and they obviously also feed you as well. Now I say obviously because in countries I've been to, I've seen inside some hospitals, and although they've been very clean, they're not always well staffed. Other hospitals you have to pay for other services such as helping you get bathed, wash your hair, wash your hands, changing of bandages and things like this. So we are very grateful it's all free in the NHS. Now, there are some people that have a lot of money. Politicians, for example, celebrities and wealthy aristocracy or other people with lots of money. Now they can choose to go private and their service may differ. It may be a more rapid service despite their ailment, their injury, their illness. And so they can pay for that. That's their choice. You can choose to pay. And obviously you could choose your own meals and your own dressings and things like this. So that is a choice. And often a private patient will get given private care whilst in a national health hospital. Our hospitals are that good that the private sector use our hospitals and our wards, and the doctors are the same. So your doctor could be helping a private patient that's paying thousands, and then the next minute they can be helping you and give you exactly the same treatment and service. So the healthcare is second to none. And then, like I said, after your illness, ailment, and you've got better, the home care, you could often get physiotherapy or checkups and continuing care. Again, with the NHS, is free and a very high level of service. Sometimes there is a bit of a waiting list because we are at capacity of what the NHS is able to provide, and the amount of people in the country is just growing and growing and growing. So very good care, free. So that's from a hospital, from an accident perspective or an illness and going in an ambulance and getting taken care of. There is the other avenue or way in, and that would be if you went to your local GP, general practitioner, or doctor. You could go and see your local doctor and you could say, I've got this medical problem. And he could say, I understand, I believe it could be this, but I'm going to refer you to a specialist. And then you'll get a letter to say that you have an appointment in, say, 2 weeks' time to see this specialist. And they will schedule you in and invite you in. And again, that's all free. Now, the doctor may say that the issue and the problem you have is life-threatening or very serious, in which case they would get an ambulance and send you in an ambulance straight away. Again, like I said, second to none, an amazing service. And the doctor, the GP, or locum, if he's moved around, a GP can sometimes move around to different surgeries. The doctor, the GP, could also refer you to almost any aspect of body and health care, whether it's for mental health or whether it's for podiatry and foot ailments or physiotherapy or nutritionist and your diet. So many different aspects and parts of the NHS work via referrals from the doctor or connected directly to the hospital. So there's lots and lots of ways of getting treated in the NHS, and it's all free, which is amazing. Excuse me, I'm getting a dry throat. I've got a cup of tea here. I think this is Tetley tea today with a little bit of oat milk. Oh, smashing. Really good. Okay, so that is part of the NHS. Another part I didn't mention is also helicopter. So if you're in a really terrible road traffic accident and it's going to take a long time for the ambulance to get you there and it's critical, or even if you're at the top of a mountain in the UK and the ambulance is going to take too long to get there, they can send out a helicopter and take you straight to the hospital via the helicopter. Again, all free. Now, I say all free. I think in this modern age, the insurance companies are getting billed directly from the hospitals. So the hospital may ask for funds and money to cover some things that may not be covered, such as the ambulance, to claim off your car insurance or somebody else's car insurance. But generally, you won't have to pay a dime, a nickel, a penny. You won't have to pay anything. So that's really positive and really, really good. Okay, so free stuff. That's the NHS. That's what everybody thinks amazing. Okay, and then most medication is free, especially if you get it from the hospital. But some medications you may have to pay some money to contribute towards it. And in that case, we call it a prescription. Now, only doctors can give you a prescription. And the prescription could just be for painkillers or for medication for any other ailment, whether it's cancer or whether it's rheumatoid arthritis. Many ailments come with medication, and the medication is at a drastically reduced rate. Now, I think one item of medication, I think, is around £12, Great British pounds. I think it's something like that. Right, so that's our amazing NHS. And I wouldn't say anything too negative about it, because the great British public in the UK get very upset if you're mean towards the NHS or not very positive towards the NHS. It's something that we're fiercely trying to keep hold of, whilst the politicians are trying to break it up and tell you how bad it is, because they want to sell it off and make some money. And greedy little mites. Okay, another good thing, right, moving on now from the NHS, another great thing is the library. We have a library system. It's connected all over the country, but generally any books and things that you borrow need to be taken back to the original, the same county, all right? So we got the big country, and then in between the country, you got several different counties, or more. Okay, and in that county, you could have several towns. So this library system is where you can borrow a book. It'll get sort of stamped a date, or you'll get a receipt. Nowadays, you get a printout, and it says you need to bring the book back within about 3 weeks. So you get 3 weeks. You can also extend it online a couple of times if it hasn't been booked out to somebody else. So this could be study books if you're in college or university. This could be just reading books for your entertainment. These are books for children, for teenagers, for adults, for elderly, and many, many research books. Not just research books, but also maps and archived newspapers and many, many, many interesting documents. Now, the library doesn't just have books and documents. It also has DVDs and audiobooks and large print books. The library now is a community hub where it offers lots of other services. You could get yourself weighed in the library. You could have your blood pressure taken in the library. You could have your height checked in the library, and quite a few other things. you can get done in the library. Often libraries have a cafe in them now. So the library is a really good hub of the community. And like I said before, it's free. Now, if you bring the books back late, there may be a small fine, normally just 20 or 30p a day, something like that. But they encourage you to bring the books back as soon as possible after that stamped date. The staff in the hospital tend to be quite well trained and very polite. You can also get photocopies done in the library, and I think they even do fax service. And you can book a study room, and also not in the study room, but in the general Malay area, there's a study area where you can use the computer for free, connected to the internet. I think you're allowed like 45 minutes for free. And then you can come back the next day and do it again. So 45 minutes, I think it is, for free. I think you can extend it for other reasons, or if the library's quiet. But again, that service is completely free. So the library is a really big community hub. It's really popular with so many people. Again, something we don't want to lose, but the politicians are trying to chip away at it again with their little hammers. Ooh, those greedy politicians. Something you might not hear of much if you come to the UK is the Citizens Advice Bureau. And you might be scratching your head, what the heck is a Citizens Advice Bureau? Well, it's basically where you can get some free legal advice or other good advice, whether it be about your rental property, whether it be about employment, or whether it be about something that's happened in the community that you're concerned about. You can often book in and get free advice. So again, very good service. We also have what we call locally as a tip, like a recycle center where you can take your rubbish, more than just your household rubbish. You can take like garden or garage rubbish. Now, if it fits in the back of your car, you can just drive your car there and empty it out. Now, if you've got a trailer or a big van, then you'll get a small charge. But generally, most things at the tip are free to get rid of. Or it's now called the recycle center. And they encourage you to help them by putting the things that you have in the right bays. They're obviously big metal skips. Obviously, they are big metal skips that get shuffled around and moved. So it could be just metal in one of them. It could be just wood in another. It could be just unrecyclables in another one. So there could be 7 or 8 different big metal skips that you're able to use. Some places will even let you get rid of rubble. And also, I think you can get rid of 4 tires or wheels without being charged. You know, obviously like from a car. All right, so that's the tip, the recycle center. Again, a really good place. A lot of them have also a part where they sell you things. So there might be a little shop where you can go, oh, I want an old bicycle pump. I want a spare wheel or a roof rack or whatever. And you can go in there, and often there's furniture and lamps and all sorts of things. It's like an Aladdin's cave in there at a very small price. You can buy these old rubbish from other people's rubbish for a very small price. Right, I'm running low on time, so I'm going to have to be a bit quick now. I'm going to run through some of these. If you have any questions, just mention them in the comments and I'll see what I can do. So schools, again in the UK, preschools, college and regular school up to the ages sort of 16. And now many schools are extending to college. And for us, college is up to 18 years old. It's free. After 18 years old, we're talking now about university. Now university, or as they say in America, college, is sort of from 18 and a half, 19, up to whenever you choose to leave if you go on to do further education after a degree or a HND, etc., etc. So all our schools, and again, all the schools are very professional, very good, high level of teaching standards, and they are all assessed and regulated. And you can go onto the government website and see how well the school in your area is doing. If you don't like the school, often you can change schools if you have a good reason, or you can move to a different location. That swings and roundabouts. It depends on what your local government, your local council is like, and whether they allow you to change and things like that. But it's open to negotiation often. Okay. Streetlights. We have a lot of streetlights in the cities and even in some other towns. But then generally out in the sticks, out in the countryside, the streetlights kind of disappear. Streetlights. Really helpful. Like I said before, the police service, again, completely free. They're not corrupt. They don't want any money off you. Unless you're speeding in your car, then that's a criminal offence where you have to pay a fine and you could get points on your license, depending on the crime. And the money doesn't go directly to that policeman. The money goes towards the government, and the government then sort of reinvest it back in the police force. So that's what they say. I don't know exactly what happens to it. But yeah, the police service is free. They're a good presence to help keep crime low. Okay, moving on. Fire. Wow, the fire service, again, free. They help in road traffic accidents by cutting you out of a car. They can help whether your building is collapsed or anything that's unsafe. They could rescue you from a cliff. If you are walking along a cliff and the cliff suddenly collapsed, they would probably help rescue you from the cliff as well. I've already mentioned the ambulance service, and we also have a Coast Guard. So if you don't know what a Coast Guard is, it is a service where they go out on boats and they rescue you if you're in a yacht or a dinghy or some other boat and it takes on water and you're sinking and you're stuck out at sea. They can often help around cliffs as well, because obviously for them to access may only be by water. So that's the Coast Guard. Funeral. Now, if you have no family and no friends and you die, they give you what's called a pauper's, as in a poor person, pauper's funeral. So they will cremate your body at no charge. Well, there's nobody to charge it to, but they will cremate your body. Parks. We have a lot of parks and cycle paths. We have dog warden facility. So if you lose your dog and there's a dog warden around, he may help find your dog and take it to a shelter or kennel to be safe, because we can't have dogs wandering around without leads on because of car traffic accidents. The traffic in the UK is quite fast compared to a lot of other countries. The roads are quite fast here in the UK. So yeah, we have some amazing, beautiful parks, even around London. You know, a lot of our cities have some amazing parks where often there's things going on and interesting things to do and see and play in the parks. Like lots and lots of cycle paths, and the parks are looked after and maintained all for free. Often in your local area there may be grass cutting. The council may pay to cut the grass, and in some circumstances, if you're in supported housing, then the grass for your property may be cut as well. All right. Now, changing the subject slightly, condoms. Condoms are free. You can go to different, I think it's called gum clinic, where you can get tested for sexually transmitted diseases and things like that for free. And often you can ask for contraception, such as condoms. Roads and bridges. Now, most of the UK, there's very few tolls in the UK, especially down here in the south where I live. Very few tolls. The two bridges going over to Wales are now free. But yeah, very few tolls. So all the roads and bridges, almost all the roads and bridges are free. Oh, okay. Food and clothes banks. So you may need support if you're struggling, if you've lost your job. And you can also claim financial benefits where the government, if you meet their criteria, can help you with looking for a new job, help you get the skills and the qualifications you need to get a new job or a job. And they often can support you with learning about internet. They can help you with getting the bus to job interviews. They can help you in so many ways. It used to be called the job center. I don't know what they call it now. And so you can get a lot of help there from there. You can get benefits, you can get financial benefits for food and living expenses. And you can also get help for your rent and council tax and things like this if you're claiming these benefits. Often in the UK, some people frown upon people taking the benefits because in this day and age it's quite easy to get a job. There are people that cannot get a job for various reasons, and they are supported generally through the social services, and they're given advice and guidance and support to try and get into work. And those that still can't work are often are given other services to try and help them with their life and their lifestyle. There's also disability benefits and support. There's mental health support. And like I said, if you're struggling financially, there's clothes banks and food banks, things like this. In many cities, there's water stations and fountains where you can drink free water from a fountain in the street. Again, the water quality in UK is pretty brilliant, especially compared to other parts of the world. The UK water is pretty darn good. Right, where were we? Water stations, fountain. So we also have other services, such as Free Cycle, classified ads, Free to a Good Home, and Facebook Marketplace, where they advertise things for free. You can get some things from corporations and companies for free when it's your birthday, such as Greggs. You can go into a Greggs, I think, or a Starbucks and things like that. Tell them it's your birthday, show them some proof, and you can get a free coffee or free pasty or whatever it is. All right. Bin collection. So all your bins, rubbish is taken from your house on a regular basis. Also part of your recycling and food waste. These things are taken away for free. Old age pensioner. We call them OAPs. People that are retired can get a bus pass, allow them to travel for free on the buses. I think after 9 a.m. They can travel around for free in a county and often all across the network of buses across the country. Most places in the country will accept a bus pass. Also churches. Churches are very good places as well if you need support or help to give you guidance and possibly some food and other things that you may need. Prescriptions, I mentioned, yeah. Also injections and inoculations. Now, if you're traveling abroad, you may get charged for injections. But actually in this country for the coronavirus, that was all free, those medications, those inoculations. And when you're younger as well, in your teenage years and as a child, you get extra inoculations and injections. Again, all free. If you want to scrap your car, often it's free. Sometimes they'll pay you as well, depending on how much the price of metal is. You can often get a free trial on many non-governmental services, especially if you're vulnerable. There's a lot of free things out there. So yeah, there's no discrimination, nobody judges you, and you can get a lot of facilities from the country as a whole. So the NHS covers you from a baby all the way to dying. We've got air ambulance, road traffic accidents, we've got dermatologists, physiotherapies, surgeons, and counselling. And this thing is interesting, that I don't know if it happens anywhere else. Let me know in the comments. There is no discrimination in regards to your ethnicity. Everybody is considered British. Everybody is considered British in this country, unless you tell them otherwise. So if you're here on holiday from, let's say, China, the staff will consider you British people, a British person, unless you say, no, I'm not British, I'm on holiday, or I'm from China. But we assume, firstly, that everybody lives here. So if you go into a hospital, they'll assume you live here. And there's no discrimination. Also, we don't have guns, no guns for citizens. All right? Occasionally you might know of a farmer that has guns, or somebody that likes to shoot occasionally, like pheasants as a sport, but they're very regulated and policed. So everyone has equal rights. There is very little corruption. You can't offer some money to a policeman to turn the other cheek. You can't bribe a judge or any member of a profession. If it is here, I mean, it might be, maybe I'm naive to say it's not, but if it is here, it's very well hidden. Everyone is considered equal and have human rights. And that goes the same for criminals as well. Criminals have a lot of rights. As far as I know, some criminals are now being called sir. So everybody has rights, and everybody should not be judged unless proven otherwise. And that is the case that I found. So speaking from my own experience. And that's all I can do, speak from my own experience, that you do not get judged. All right, so that's really reassuring, and it helps your confidence that the system is working as best as possible. We are human. Some people have a bad day. You know, that's life. But we are human. But in general, it's really undiscriminatory. And everybody is equal. So it's really lovely to see and enjoy. That's one of the things I love most about coming back to the UK is the lack of discrimination. No discrimination, whichever way you want to put it. All right, so that's it for today. See you in the next video. If you have any thoughts about your government, your NHS, your hospital systems, what things do you get for free in your country? I'd be really interested to know. Put a message down in the comments. So that's it for today. Thanks for listening. And as always, have fun learning. Otherwise, you're not going to learn. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.